Blog Talk Radio.
All aboard for Success Express, your business, career, and financial radio magazine. Hosted by Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazines.com.
Happy Saturday, everybody. It's the 4th day of April 2020, and welcome to Big Blend Radio's Success Express Business and Career Show with Nancy and Lisa. We are the crazy mother-daughter travel team, full-time travelers on our Love Your Parks tours. We travel the country documenting parks while we publish our 2 digital magazines. We have Big Blend Radio and TV magazine and Parks and Travel magazine. Both of them do cover business, entrepreneurship, small business, as well as tourism. So very excited today. We are airing live from the beautiful and historic Homestead Inn in 29 Palms, California, where we got our start here on Big Blend Radio about, I think it's 12, 13 years ago. So it's kind of fun to be back here quarantined, but in a beautiful setting. So check it out. You can see where we are. You can go to the website 29in.com. Today's show, Nancy, speaking about like getting our start in our podcasting and Big Blend radio shows out here in the desert, high desert, we're welcoming back our friend Therese Skelly. She is a mentor and guide to women in business, and she is joining us to talk about her brand new book. It's awesome, Nancy. You've been reading it, and I've been reading it. Yeah, I highly recommend it for all women, just in general. Everyone should just start a business right now. It's going to help everything. The book is called Love-Based Mission, How to Create a Business That Serves Your Soul. Of course, you go to Amazon, all those great places, but I say it's always cool to connect directly with the author as well, so you can go to Therese's website. It's thereseskelly.com, and to prove I can spell, it's ThereseSkelly. Did I get that right, Therese?
You
Welcome.
got it. You pronounced it right. Hi, guys.
Hey.
It's so nice to be back. Like, how long has it been since we've been talking before? So.
I know. It's probably about 10 years. Yeah, something like that.
That's crazy.
But, we're looking better every day. That's what we say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that y'all are still doing this thing together and you're quarantined and you're happy. I love that for you guys. So, very nice.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and you too. Congratulations on the book. I saw yesterday that you're kicking butt in the women's business category on Amazon.
#1 bestseller.
Right on. And what, in one day, 2 days?
Girl.
When did you launch it again? I mean, it was this week, right?
On Monday. Launched it on Monday.
Oh, wow.
And so I think by Thursday it had hit the #1, Thursday, #1 bestseller, and then it's still there. So, yeah.
Cool.
It was really a surprise because I didn't do a campaign. There are those book campaigns that shoot to be #1, and it never even occurred to me because I'm just like, I just want to get the message out. And when my publisher's like, oh my God, you're #1, I was like,
Cool.
Okay, that's
Party.
cool.
That is very cool. I mean, now we should be doing this on Champagne Sunday so we can drink champagne.
Absolutely. Well, there's always an excuse for champagne.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah. So this is so cool, and I love that this is a whole series. This is book 7, right, in the series?
Yes.
Love-based. Okay. So you even talk about this in the book, like getting into love-based, and you think about heart-centered leadership, love-centered leadership, and so nowadays it got used quite a bit, and there's always that, it's woo-woo, it's wishful thinking kind of thing, but this is not what it's about.
Right. When I was kind of coming up with the concepts, I said to my Facebook group people, like, hey, what do y'all think when you hear the concepts of, heart-centered, conscious? There's really some negativity in there. It's just like, those people are flaky, they're afraid to make money. And so in the book, I really spin a new definition. And the definition is, no, we are in business to profit, obviously, but we're also here to help each other, to put, people and the planet first. So we're not just greedy capitalists, and we're not goofy, new agers that are just praying that money falls on our heads. Like it's you can literally run a business based from love and not fear. And in the book, I talk about how to do that in selling and marketing and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, and it's interesting because love-based and there's fear is a big deal, and I think it's really important that you're focusing on women because I think I mean, Nancy, you think about like even Grandma. We had to teach her how to use a checkbook. You know, there's the money thing. The money thing in women.
Yes.
It's still a battle, and I'm worried that we're actually passing that on to the younger generation of women. This balance with money. We need to embrace the money and show me the money.
Oh my gosh. I talk about, especially now, I talk about that so much because, we're all probably the same. We're over 40. Let's just say that. I don't know how old you are, but I'm assuming we're all over 40. And
hey, I'm 21 forever.
Me too.
Oh my God, you're aging really well. I was raised with like, we had Joan Cleaver as a role model, right? So we had the 60s moms that their whole mission in life was to take care of their family, and it was the selfless martyr. We all have, that's what's swimming in the waters, and so we never learn to receive. And if you can't receive, think about it, if you can't receive a compliment, if you can't receive somebody buying you coffee, how in the world are you going to receive money? And so we've been acculturated, in essence, to push it away. And then there's I hate even to say this, but the little Cinderella complex. Some man's going to save me. Some man is going to come. Somebody will marry me.
God,
somebody will sweep me off. Like the little thing. And so we're sort of screwed. Like we really are in terms of our culture. I feel like since Oprah, she's to me the pivot. Oprah showed the world that a woman could be powerful and stand on her own and make her own money. Oprah's a badass. And so I think everybody that's like 40 and under has a little bit of I have more hope for the younger generation because they didn't get what we got, right?
Yeah.
I think you're right on that, and I also think there's a part of I'm older than you guys, and how I was brought up was it was not, a woman would be looked at as not feminine if she were in business, as her own business, being the boss. It's not feminine. You'll never get a man that way. That kind of thing. So you have generations of thought about women in business going as far back as I can think, and it's all negative. It's all negative towards women.
And that's the thing is that didn't die out with your mother and your grandmother. Like that still lives in the psyche, in the collective psyche, right? And so when a woman, I work a lot with women and their like visibility, like in how they talk about their businesses and owning their value, and those unconscious things. The work I do now, I've evolved a lot from just pure business coaching to I do a lot of energy work, and so I can literally pinpoint and say, oh yeah, well you're carrying your grandmother's beliefs about money. Like I can find that in the people I'm working with, and it can be paralyzing. And even today, like a lot of the women that I know that are kind of powerhouse, very high earner women, if they're single, they're like, I'm too much for a man. Like, no, what man is going to have? You know what I mean? There's almost like if you're successful and powerful and you make a lot of money, oh my God, a man couldn't handle that, right? So it's
That's
still
right.
there.
Either that, or if they do want to be with you, it's because they're after your money.
Oh goodness. Yeah.
Nurse with a
so
purse.
Stay single, girls. No, don't. No,
well,
you don't have to.
I think you can have this balance. I mean, look at you.
Absolutely.
Reading your book, you're very candid about your life and your growth, and I think that's what's also it's a very easy book to read. But then you're like, you're going to have to get off your ass and do something. You can't
Pretty much.
just read a book, right?
Yeah. Well, I loved it. Somebody gave me a review on Amazon. So hey, if you're listening, put reviews on Amazon, because what I guess I understand is that the more reviews, the more Amazon will show people the book, and that's really this book is a message for this time. It's like a really important book, and somebody said this is not a book you read, this is a book you do. And so I made it very, very, my style is kind of conversational and kind of homey, and so it's kind of chock full of tips and tools and my story, cause that's how we're here, right? Because I've been through it. I've been through a bankruptcy. I've been through losing everything. I understand what it is like to not own your value and to be afraid to get out there and show the world yourself. I get it. Like everything from this book is because I'm the poster child. I lived it, right? So I had to live out of it, and then I can teach it, which I think that's pretty cool.
I think it's really cool, and I think it is really I think it's like perfectly timed. We're all quarantined, concerned highly about money.
Because I'm going to call in
business.
another line because I have lost the sound, so something is going on with my phone. So let me really quickly keep talking, and I will try to.
She's coming, but
number and I'll
here's
call in
the
another
deal.
line.
Okay, when you look at today, at what's going on in the world with the money, I look at people have got a lot of fear right now, the fear of unknown, and I feel like they're worried about what's going to happen in regards to, are we going to have a business? Are we going to have money? Are we going to recoup from this? But a lot of people are home now, so this is the time to be able to plan, to strategize, to think about things. And I think, Nancy, you always say that even if you are working for someone else, it's, doing your own thing is always a feel-good thing. So I don't know, I think now is the time to launch a business. Even though it sounds crazy, I think it is the time to do it. Let's see if she's back here. Therese, did you make it back?
I'm back. Having trouble with the phone. So
you sound nice and clear. So do you think now is the time with all this stress and fear of money and business?
We're at such a weird time. I think there is, let's just speak the truth. There is fear right now in the economy. So there are people that are like, holy crap, I can't spend a dime, right? So we are in harder times financially, but we also have a couple months of quarantine ahead of us, or maybe 3 months, or maybe 4 months. So now is the time to start visioning. Like, don't open a restaurant right now. Don't open your massage therapist. Don't pull out your single, because the truth is people can't find you. But if you're like perhaps an online business or like a service-based business, this is the time absolutely you should dream. You should sit and say, what have I always wanted to do? If it wasn't for fear, what would I love to do? If money weren't a problem, what would I love to? So I think you can plant the seeds right now. You know what I mean? I feel like this is the time to really, because we have a lot of time. We're not out running around getting massages or doing Pilates these days, right? So this is a time to just, I feel like it's really auspicious. It feels like, what are you here for? Like, what would you love, And then in a couple of months, we'll be in a different place. People will spend again. We will get out of our houses. We will be allowed to congregate. And then that's when you put it in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think now it's the planning, and
it's homework time.
Yeah, it's homework time. You could be doing courses.
There's so much education possibilities. Online education is huge, and you could be an educator online. You know something. You've learned something, no matter how or who you work for, you have learned something of value that you can teach. So you can be an educator, and you can also go to school.
And you can get your marketing stuff together. Right. This is a good time to clean up your marketing. And don't you think now is the time to network? We have more time to network.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. It's like, I'll just tell you what I'm doing right now. I'm doing a lot of free stuff. And that means we're all leaders. In whatever way we lead, we are leaders. And I think it's natural. The first couple of weeks of this, truthfully, I was a little bit blown away. I was a little paralyzed. My son had been in Barcelona, and then he was in New York City. And it was like, holy crap, is he okay? So there was a little fear for a couple of weeks, like getting him back from Europe very quickly, a lot of stress. And so for a couple of weeks, I was like, and I just allowed that. I just allowed myself to be afraid. I allowed myself just to rest and not do anything. And then I was like, okay, and you have people for whom you are their inspiration, for whom they need you to step the heck up and start helping them. And so I've just been doing I call them calm and comfort calls, right? So I'm just so I'm not doing specific, let me tell you something, I'm selling. What I'm doing is just giving right now. Just like, hey, I'm here for you. Let's have a call. Because I know when the things turn around, I will be top of mind. So that's networking, and that's leading, and that's contributing what I can contribute. So I think there are things that we can do that we're not aware that we can do. Even though our lives have changed, there's still so much we can contribute to each other.
I think you're really right. I think how people handle this now is going to be how their business, look at, sorry, not to name names, but Bank of America, people are mad at you right now. And we're going to, and so now you're going to lose business instead of doing the right thing and working. Car companies are deferring, some of them, the nice ones, are deferring payments for 3 months. So there's things that you're going to go, hey, there's a trust.
They took care of me. They took care of me.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So you're working with people on things. I say work through with your book. One thing, we talk about, okay, you're doing things for free right now, but sometimes for women, we tend to start giving the farm away, like literally.
Oh. Hello. Yeah, and I'm not only doing things for free. I'm just adding. Like I'm seeing what else I can add. That's not like I'm saying I can't charge right now. And if you're feeling there's conversation in the industry like how dare I charge when people have lost their jobs. But if everybody pulls back even more, we're going to tank as an economy.
Yeah.
So it's almost paradoxical. No, by asking people to give you money, you help fund the economy. So it's not, again, it's not greedy capitalism. It's just like we got to put money into the economy, right? So now, what I also know is that some people are not signing up for year-long programs. So for me, a pivot is, what can I do in 2 months? What's the need right now? Like, what do people really, really, really need? Okay, well, that's a new program. So, I mean, so you have to kind of be flexible and see what the pain points are. Like, one of the people in my Facebook group has online parenting classes. She has so much business now because people are home with their kids going, I want to kill them, right? And so
funny. That's
an example of, there are businesses that are absolutely flourishing right now. But you're so right. Women, we are wired. This is an interesting fact, right? You all know fight or flight, the physiological in a stress response. For women, there's another response our brain does, and it goes tend and befriend. And so that's why women are like, oh my God, I got to take care of you. Like, we literally biologically are wired to take care of people.
Right.
And so if that means you're in business and you have that biological imperative, you're going to and my book talks a lot, and I don't like to bring labels, but my book talks a lot about the patterns of codependency, the patterns of sacrificing yourself, over-giving, thinking more about what other people need. Like, I don't know about y'all, but that's what I brought to my business, and I had to work really hard to go, wait, it's not making me happy. You know what I mean? So women bring these patterns of self-sacrifice and just being too much for everybody without focusing on filling themselves first, taking care of themselves. Does this work for me? What do I need to do? So
yeah, no, I think that's the thing. We start to devalue what we do. It's just a weird thing. It's like the first thing to do is to drop rates.
Well,
it's kind of that natural. I mean, we might as well be the mattress king.
That's so funny.
Walmart. We'll be Walmart.
It really, it depends on how and when you do things like that. If you are in business and you have a monthly sale, then nobody's going to think bad of you, regularly dropping prices at different points. But if you've never done that, all of a sudden, now you're in the middle of a disaster and you drop prices. It makes people wonder about you. It's almost better to give away something for free than it is to put your prices down in some regards, or you come up with a different package, whatever it is that you're selling, so that it matches the price, so that people don't think that you have lowered your value just because you're trying to bring in new business, or just because you're trying to survive through a difficult time, just because you feel for people and know that their bank accounts are stressed. So, it's just a little bit of pre-thought instead of panic thought is needed, so that you can come up with a strategy that you're not going to regret.
That's brilliant. And there is something suspect, when a person that charges $5,000 a month suddenly is giving away for $500, the same thing, right? And so if you do lower your rates, there needs to be a story. Like, this was weird. So I was on a mastermind call with a friend, and my friend is a photographer, and she has never given away anything for free because her work is, in her mind, a commodity. It's not a service. Like, you get an actual thing at the end, right? Whereas when you're in service-based business, I think it's easier. Like, you can slip into, And so I had just been talking about what my new product, my new offering, and I think it was, I think like $2,000 to $3,000. And she comes on the phone and she goes, "Are you going to charge for that?" And I'm just like, "Yeah." And then she is her mastermind my moment. She's like, "You know what? I've never given away anything for free, and I think I want to do that now." And I thought, isn't that interesting? The times we're in, so there's no wrong answers. That's the thing, and you just have to. I think there's a space of, if you feel called, like I do my calm and comfort calls for my group. I'm called I can contribute. I can't change the pandemic or the economy, but I can help you calm your physiology down. I can provide comfort. Like, that's my gift, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you do something different, just make sure it's intentional, Nancy. Like you were saying, don't think about it ahead of time. Think about, I hate to say, look at the optics. You know, it's not a big marketing thing, but you don't want to be reactive, and you want to feel good at the end of the day, because if you're doing something that's like, oh, crap, I got to go do that because I told them, you know, that is not the right answer. You don't want to have any, you want to be delighted that you're giving, or standing firm in that you're not undercharging. Like that's, you just got to be in resonance with whatever you're doing.
Yeah, because, you know, I watched this remember the documentary, Are You a Pimp or a Hoe? See? Sorry.
No, I have not seen that one yet. Huh.
No, but it's true. It just kind of put it in your face, and it was like, we did some interviews on it. It was years ago.
Yeah,
and
it was a long time ago.
But it just, you know, I always go like, that kind of hits me in the face every time I think about things, and I'm like, really, which one are you going to be? And the balance is in the middle, man. You don't want to be either, right? But
I love that. That is a great title. Oh my God, no, I love it. Love it.
This call is not for 5-year-olds.
There we go.
But it is interesting about how we have that thing about, okay, we give the farm, and then you have to be sustainable. Otherwise, you ain't gonna, you know, you're not gonna survive, and then your goods are gone. You talk about that very Oprah, like where, you know, in regards to, we're here for a reason. And so you must sustain that reason. You've got to. It's like you're talking like we have to be stewards of our own business. I know we always talk about when we're talking about nature and wildlife. We're always talking about being stewards of the environment. But you're like stewards of your own business. I'm like, ooh, I like that.
Yeah, and that's what that stems from is, you know, to me, I don't want to make this a Christian thing or religious thing. I view my work as a ministry, and I use the ministry as a verb and as in to serve, right? And so I feel like we are given a purpose. Like, you guys are stewards of the earth. Like, your purpose is to highlight the parks and highlight, like, you're not designed to be CPAs.
No.
So like whatever it is ours to do, it's like there's our small self that's like, oh my gosh, can I do it? Am I enough? I don't know. And we spin around and being neurotic. And again, I'm speaking for me, like, you know, it's just like, oh, can I charge this? Can I do it? And yet when we tap into, like, what's mine to do? Like, who are the people that I'm supposed to help? What is my mission? When you tap into the mission, for me, it's like, get up, just quit whining, just do the mission. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to me, the mission, it has literally sustained me through I cannot quit on the mission. It is my soul's work, and it's like, that's it. I'm so aligned to that. I'm willing to walk through fire. I'm willing to transform myself into whomever I have to be the steward of the work that's supposed to be mine. And when you get that so clearly, this is where, when I interview women on my podcast, when I get them right there, they start crying. They get so choked up. You know, like when you have those moments of truth where you're like, oh my God, you know, like you're like, oh, that's the work. And so if you can align with that, it really helps line up all the codependency. It lines up all the, I'm afraid to charge. Can I ask that much? Who am I? Like, all the little voices in your head, it can kind of transcend that.
You know, when you go into business on your own, you put in way more hours than when you work for somebody else.
Oh goodness.
So you live and breathe it. Otherwise, you don't make it. And if you know, it really is passion first, which is really an emotion. So if you have to invest emotionally into a business, whether you're male or female, or you're not going to make it. So I think women just, you know, we're known for being emotional, sometimes over emotional, depending on who's judging. So when a woman's in business, the way people talk about women in business is usually very different, like we're this, like we're aliens or something.
Right.
You know, and we do have the same makeup and abilities and emotions as men. We really do.
I feel like it. But if a woman is decisive, they're called bitches. If a woman is like, you know, I've had to work on. Oops, not for 5-year-olds, people. Anywho, you can no, but if I've had to work on saying no and being instead of like, is it okay? I'm sorry. Like, I had to literally work on. No, that's not going to work for me. And it's weird because as a woman this age, we weren't raised that way, right? We were raised to say no with explanation or to soften it, but just to go, no, that's not going to work. I say to my people, no is a complete sentence. You don't need the justification
that's hard.
and the 7 reasons. It's hard, right? And that's how I feel like, and I don't want to go, the patriarchy's controlling us, but I think there is that. If a woman is, my branding a lot is, I started this thing called, I want you to be fiercely here. And now I have a new podcast starting. It's called the Fiercely Brilliant Podcast, because I don't want you to just be here. I want you to be brilliant. But when a woman walks in the room owning her stuff, she ruffles feathers sometimes. And so women are taught very often, you walk in and you be quiet. Like I was on a board one time, and I came in, I'm pretty gung-ho, and I'm pretty smart, and I'm like, okay, let's talk about marketing, and I can help us grow. And I didn't understand why the executive director was just such a jerk to me. Like, and I was like, what? I'm just trying to help. I don't understand. And what I was told is, well, you haven't earned the right. Like, you just came here, literally, like this man is basically saying, you haven't put enough time in. And I was like, wowza. And this is what happens to women very often. We are equal. We know just as much. But it's like, well, don't take the seat at the table with the boys yet. You haven't quite earned your place. It was shocking to me, right? I'm like, what? I'm helping.
Yeah.
Shut up. But it was the first time I had ever hit that, because I haven't worked in corporate, right? So this was on a board, and I'm like, goodness, this is out there,
It's funny.
It is out there, and the other part is women have to balance out with women too. That's the other thing. It's like we are a community, and to move forward past this patriarchal stuff. What's going on today?
Yeah.
Then you have to embrace each other and lift I think we have to help each other more than sometimes we are. Maybe this whole virus thing, we're coming together more on all levels and all genders.
I think so.
I think we are. So I think there's always lessons in these kinds of things, but we do have to help each other. One thing, too, I know that thousands of businesses are applying for bankruptcy right now. Mm-hmm. And, you're looking at some of them being self-employed, a one-person entrepreneur, business, which they often get overlooked as being part of the economy. Excuse me. So that happens, but getting beyond bankruptcy and moving forward, some people feel like it's going to be the end of the world if that happens. Bankruptcy, that's it. And I would say remind everybody that our president has been bankrupt a number of times. So, I'm not getting against him or anything. I'm just saying that you can move forward, and businesses I feel like we have to fail to succeed sometimes. It's our lessons. Or you can read your book and then not do the same lessons.
There we go.
But nice. You can move forward.
Well, when you start a business, you're learning several things every single day. You're new at just about everything when you first start out. So of course there's going to be successes and failures. That's the name of the day. To me, as long as you keep going and you don't quit, you will win in the end.
See, but Therese's honest out there. She's telling people what happened, and it's like, to me, I know a lot of people would just like try to hide it under the rug instead of just going right through.
Yeah. Part of that is because I know I am here to provide hope and inspiration. And I'll tell you a story. So I was right before. So I lost my everything. After the recession. And I'm not blaming the recession. I'm not saying, the recession took my money. No, I messed up my money because I was unconscious, right? I had gotten divorced. I had a huge, monthly child support, and then the economy tanked and the support went down. And so it was me, because I don't think we can ever just, I'm just a victim, got screwed over there. So I try to look for, and what was my part in it? What could I have done differently, right? So when I was in this business retreat, I was a client, and we're planning so this was probably 2009, and we're planning our next year big goals. And I burst into tears, and I say, how can I, as a business coach, sell anything? Because look at what happened to me. Like, I will have zero credit. Like, who in the world is going to buy some from some loser that lost everything? And a woman turned to me and she said, wait, I'd actually buy from you more, because you would understand. You wouldn't judge me. I would think that you would have compassion for me, and I would know you would take care of me. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so 2 days later, I emailed my assistants, and I'm like, okay, we're going to do a telesummit. And I don't do anything small, right? We're going to do a telesummit called Breaking Down to Break Free. And I brought like 10 guests, some of them 7-figure earners, some 6-figure earners, that all talked about their breakdown stories. Because I feel like shame is the most evil force on the planet. Shame is kills. And shame is, I'm defective, something's wrong with me. I'll never be right. And so when I went to the bankruptcy, I was raised to be a good girl and pay my bills. Like, I was not raised to just walk away from a house, right? And so the shame was the worst part. So if I can speak it and say, hey, stop. Do not let shame tell you you're a loser. Do not let shame tell you that you're forever scarred. And you know what I mean? But that was the hardest part. I mean, losing the house was hard. Losing the car was hard. I mean, everything was hard. But the self-torture, the self-judgment was horrific. And so if I can soften that for anybody, and I feel like there's conditioning, like BS conditioning, like, oh, credit cards are bad. You shouldn't have to. No. You do whatever the hell you can do to survive. So that, all the myths of you shouldn't take loans, like, just throw it out. You just got to survive, and you get okay with doing whatever you do. But do not let shame jump in front of you and tell you you're never going to live again, right? So, because a lot of people kill themselves. They literally kill themselves when they. I mean, it's so. Yeah, I speak it because I don't want anybody to have to feel the shame of it.
Yeah, I remember years ago you being on a panel, and I asked something about, like, what if you don't have capital to start a business? And we had 2 other businessy people on, and they were all like, oh, you must do this, do not do that. And you're like, oh, go for it. Just, who cares? If you're going to run up your credit cards, do it. Go for it. If that's who you are, you're going to have to figure it out and do it. And if you fail, you're going to just get back up and do it. And it's funny because it's like, wow, when I was reading your book, I'm like, I remember Therese going, like, if something goes bad, just keep going. Just get up.
Yeah,
Here it is,
so funny.
If you wait.
Well, and now, how many of us are going to have to take out loans? I mean, now it's like it feels like all the old patriarchal, religious, old, Midwestern values or puritanical values, and I'm not trashing all those, but all the, you have to be good, you can't buy anything on credit, like all that, like who created that? What the heck? You know what I mean? And so I think we get a chance to go. It's right. but it has controlled us for years.
That's about 80 years old.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It doesn't stand the test of time. It really doesn't.
Exactly.
So,
so we're here.
Toss it.
And they make so much money on
it up.
interest. They make thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions and millions of dollars on interest, and when stuff goes down,
they get
bailed out, and they still fly in their private jets, so don't worry about it.
They still don't pay what they should to their workers.
We're going to get emails and like, how dare you say this kind of stuff, and we're like, I don't care. Because we're all still here, right? We're all still here.
Yep.
I look at our business, we were in print, running around in print. And I think when we first connected with you, we were just like, that's it. Nancy's like, we've got all this traffic on our site. We've got readers from all over the world. Why are we just Southwest? Why not? And then with the radio, it was like, well, I'm from New York, and I want to be on your show. And I'm like, well, I want you to be. Well, I suppose now we're going to have to go bigger.
Yeah.
It's like Zakiya Hooker's got a song. Man, we should play this one, too. It's called Get Your Big Girl Panties On.
That's it.
And it's true. That's it.
That's really good. Absolutely.
It's amazing. So now you're working with women doing energy work. So you've got your book out. Tell us a little bit about the side of who is it? All kinds of women, all kind people that maybe not starting their own business. Who are you working with?
Well, so here's what I do. I still work in the context of business, but what I'm working on is the way I look at it is there's what you do in business and then there's who you be in business. And in the old days, I was a marketing strategist and business consultant. And I still do. I know all that. I'm still. I'm like a one-stop shop because I can do therapy as well because I was a therapist, right? And so what I do now is because I really got really clear on where do I get lit up, and my unique piece, because you guys probably know hundreds of stories of people that have, 100 years of business, 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 100 years of business gone to mentors, been a mastermind, paid boatloads of money, and it didn't work. And I can tell you why it doesn't work, right? So there's a lot of people that can give you formulas. Like, here, marketing's easy. It's just get in front of people, boom, boom, boom. Like, that's not the hard part. The hard part is, why aren't you charging enough? Why are you undervaluing? Why aren't you calling in the people you really want to call in, right? Like that, what is in the way of that? And mostly, who do you have to be in order to really be the best steward of your work? And so I work with business women, and I work on who they're being. So a client will come to me and say, my sales are down, and I figure out why. Or they want to pivot. A lot of people are in the position of pivoting their business. Like, I pivoted mine, so I'm not really necessarily known as a marketing strategist anymore, you know. And so that's scary. It's scary to pivot. But I'm starting to work with non-business women too, right? Because it's just about transformation. I work with, do you want to grow? I still market and advertise as more business coachy, but I have a Facebook group called Therese AF. Of course I do. Therese AF, Women in Business, and I open it to non-business women. And it's just I want women to be fiercely brilliant in the world. I want them to be able to walk in a room and not dim themselves.
And not have to rely on your shoes to walk through the room. It's about you in your
walking barefoot. Come on.
Yeah, it used to be like,
I know.
It's got nothing to do with your shoes, your hair, your makeup. It's about you, your attitude, and owning it. And I think that's a very cool.
So much so.
It's difficult, and I think even, if you're working in a company and that's your thing, it could be in a medical profession, be any profession, art, it's owning it and go for it, go full steam ahead. I love it. It's really cool, and the change and transformation is part of everything. I think you've got to do that because the world, look at now, everyone's changing up their business now accordingly. Not everyone, but there's a lot of people's business. They're going, I need to do more of this, or, hey, it's kind of cool to sleep in. I need more of that.
You in business, you always have to shape shift. You do, because things keep changing, and the Internet is a huge changer. It has changed everything worldwide many times and will continue to do so at such a pace that if you think you're going to keep in business doing the same old thing the same old way, you're really going to have a rough time of it. You've got to be willing to change, and you actually got to like to change.
Yeah.
Ooh, got real quiet
I think Pink. No, I know. I love this. Pink is my favorite artist, and what she said, I was on an interview with her one time, and she said you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, and just that's it. Like that's the entrepreneurial path. And one thing I want to speak about. One thing I do that I love is that I really dive in and customize everything, because it's way easier as a business. They tell us, like, create it once and then replicate it. Replicate, scale, right? Create a program and put everybody in it.
Funnel.
There we go, yay! But what I think has to happen is it has to work for you, right? Like, that's the thing. That's where it breaks down, because what if somebody, like for me, I source everything from my energy. I don't source it from a spreadsheet that says, okay, what revenue do I need for Q4? How will I sell that? What I source that in is it right for me? Does it match my values? Does it light me up? And then I could put it on a spreadsheet, right? But I source it. So, sometimes we have these well-meaning mentors or programs that just like, here's the formula. You just plug yourself in the formula. And I'm like, that's kind of disrespectful, because you don't know somebody's values or what they're willing to do or not willing to do, or what they're good at or not good at. So it really is, in this day and age, it feels like we're sort of breaking away from, well, this is how things go, to like, well, how do you want to create it for yourself, right? It's a whole opportunity, but it's scary. It's much easier to go, will somebody just save me by telling me how? Like, no.
Yeah.
No, you're not getting saved. Nobody's coming to save you, girl.
No, that's true, and I think you're really right about the customizing part. It's really, even a chef will say, oh, this potato's not the same size or flavor as this one, and it came from the same garden, but it's going to be two potatoes are never the same if you're getting real potatoes and not, Monsantified. But that's a good example of how that didn't work. We're all individuals for a reason, and we have character, and we have good stuff and bad stuff, all for a reason. I've learned even with our marketing packages, it's like, oh, here's our basic rates. This is an overview so that I don't sell myself down the river and give everybody the farm. Yeah. It is about customizing. And I remember reading, old school marketing stuff about how magazines need to do this, and I was like, well, no, we don't apply, And the one guy said everybody, like people go, oh, well, give me your rate sheet. I'm like, we don't work that way. Well, what's the value of one interview? I'm like, it really depends on you, and then all these
exactly.
and what you want, and and so it's we've learned. I remember reading this guy talking about putting your rates together, and he said, if you're customizing, how dare you put a rate to customize it? You're customized. Like here we have 3 packages, and it's this. That's not customizing. And people talk about, oh, we tailor make, but here's the rate sheet. And it's so true. People do that, and I've had to learn. I don't like doing the rate sheet because to me, when you start working with someone's business and their profession, it is fun to create the plan. It's fun, and I want to do it.
Absolutely. Making the assumption that one thing works for a whole group of people is a dangerous thing. It's really true.
It's easier. It's easier to sell that, though, right? It's just like, woo, you know what I mean? Like, here's my program. It's all shiny. Look at what it did for me. And I say, they can show you how they made 7 figures. I can show you why you aren't. Like, that's way more important to me. Like, who cares who made money? I can show you where you're not and why you can't and how to do it, right? So it just feels like, again, everything is breaking up. And so to me, the way I look at it, we're moving away from just this is what you have to do to and this is who you have to be. And so, Lisa, what I hear is you because you're such a mama hen with your people, right? Like you don't just sell them, here's because you actually care for them and you want to customize to make their business get the best exposure and all that kind of stuff. So that's a business that's in integrity and really serving as opposed to just getting a number in the door or money in the door.
Yeah, and it's true because and that's where you last. You outlast because then you're actually connected and listening, and it doesn't really matter what profession you're in. If you're not listening or taking in that feedback, you're disconnected, which means when you start disconnecting, one day you are unplugged, and we're in a plugged-in society. So you can unplug for a walk, but, that's that. Now, I have a fun question for you. I know that you like to go on Harley rides, so I know you've got your love that you do that with, but if you could go on a Harley road trip with anyone in the world, alive or passed on, for the experience, who would it be? Who would you take on that trip?
Well, I do have to say boyfriend rides an Indian, so we are not Harley people, and he's very particular about his Indian motorcycle.
Oh, yeah, Nancy knows about Indian motorcycles.
Yep.
Okay, sorry about the Harley.
For Indians. God, who? I want a whole road crew. I just like I like Barack Obama. I like Maya Angelou. I think Pink would be so freaking fun because she'd be swearing and sassy. Barack might be a little stuffy, but I just think he's cool. I think Pink would be super fun.
She's got a road trip bus going on.
I got a crew. I got a whole crew. And then we're going to need somebody to cook, too. So, that's a crazy question. I don't know. Oh, my gosh. I don't know. It would be fun.
Ramsay.
Oh, let's bring back Anthony Bourdain. Let's bring him back. He would be fun to play with. Yeah.
Talk about integrity.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine road tripping with Anthony Bourdain?
Anthony Bourdain is the best, man, for sure. And Pink, you know what? She survived coronavirus and gave $1 million away.
$1 million,
right?
So see, that to me is that's the epitome of using your platform and using your influence the right way. You're like that is props to her, So she inspires me a lot.
Right on. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Congrats again on the book and hitting the bestseller list. Again, everyone, it's called Love-Based Mission, How to Create a Business That Serves Your Soul. Of course, go to Amazon, get it there. Keep pushing that bestseller thingy, that dial up, and leave reviews. And, of course, keep up with Therese. Go to ThereseSkelly.com. She's also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all those great places. But connect with Therese. She's a blast. And if you're connected with her on Facebook, you're going to have a lot of fun, I promise. Especially now. Today, it's putting art on Facebook, So
it is. Wasn't that creative? That was kind of a fun, creative day today.
I think that's cool.
It has been so fun to hang out with you. I think you interviewed me. I was a columnist and did interviews with you like 10 years ago, and it is so delightful to see you, to connect again. So thanks for reaching out, and deep blessings to you guys. I love the work you're doing. So.
Thank you, and you too. Really, it's cool to reconnect. It's like, and I think that's part of this whole quarantine. It's like, hey, who's gone by the wayside? What's going on, man? We need to reconnect the world.
Right.
It's like on Facebook and stuff like that. We're connected with all these people, and sometimes you only see the same faces, and it's like, hey, what's going on with those algorithms? Change them.
Yes.
And you're connected for a reason. So refigure that out. So really very cool to have you back on the show. And then also, again, congrats on the book. We wanted to play a song for you, and it's called Unstoppable. This song is from Doreen Taylor. She is unstoppable. She's a Billboard charting adult contemporary artist. She is unstoppable for sure. And this is from her album Happily Ever After. And I thought that really goes with your book. The whole thing.
Yes. Oh, that's perfect. I love it.
For sure. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thanks, Therese. You can keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. Our next show is tomorrow. For Champagne Sundays, we'll be toasting Americana singer-songwriter Deborah Crooks with her new album, The Department of the West. So very excited to have her back on the show, too. So here it is, Unstoppable, and keep up with Doreen at DoreenTaylorMusic.com. Take care, Therese.
Bye.
When you fall, get up on your feet and dance. When you're done, get back in and give it a chance. When you're down, don't let people push you around. You are unstoppable if you take it day by day. You are unstoppable. Meant to be, we'll always find a way. Rain is coming down, sun is coming out, light is gonna shine on you. Never give up on yourself, and the world will never give up on you. When you're lost, hope is never too